Let's speak to Michael Boyce now, who's a policy advisor at Oxfam and joins us from Erbil in Iraq. Good to have you with us. So we've heard some quite appalling stories from survivors coming out of Mosul. Can you just sum up for us the situation for people, for civilians who are still left in that battlefield?
Well, as you know, this has been an ongoing crisis for a number of months now, where people have been trapped inside the old city of Mosul. Those who have tried to get out have been executed in many cases by ISIS snipers and subjected to other kinds of terrible abuses. So people inside the old city now, and those having the opportunity to leave at this very time, are just exhausted. They've been going months without access to quality food, to quality water, suffering through bombardments and abuses by ISIS fighters. So they're just exhausted, and they really just want a safe place to get the care that they need, and to have a rest before they can start thinking about going back home and the very long process of rebuilding.
Yeah, there's something like 800,000 people who've been displaced from their home during these months of fighting. And as you say, this is an operation that started back in October. How are these people being cared for? What's the kind of aid and support that they need, and what are they getting?
Well, many of these people are being housed in camps. Many more are living with families, friends, relatives in other parts of Mosul and in other parts of Iraq as well. So they've been getting by. It's a difficult time living in Iraq in the middle of the summer, away from your home, away from the people you care about. It's a very trying experience to be uprooted in this way. So people are eager to go home. They hope they can go home, but in the meantime, they are looking for basic assistance, water, shelter, food, and that's what humanitarian organizations like Oxfam are trying to provide for them.
Yeah, and as you say, obviously they want to go home, but that in itself poses huge challenges, because most of Mosul is just lying in rubble at the moment, and the Iraq government is going to have to face the task of rebuilding. How difficult is it going to be for these people to recover their lives?
Well, it's going to be extremely difficult. Our partners who were on the edge of the old city today told us that you have entire blocks, entire stretches of the city that are almost totally destroyed, and where it's going to take a long, long time to rebuild homes, rebuild businesses, rebuild the life that the residents of Mosul were used to. So it will definitely be a long process and a long time that the people of Iraq are going to need support from the international community. But I will also say it's about much more than rebuilding the physical city of Mosul. It's also going to be a very difficult task to rebuild the society of Mosul, to rebuild the relationships between the people of this city, the relationships that have been strained to the breaking point over many months of abuses by ISIS, many months of bombardment by the Iraqi forces. So it's going to take a long time to rebuild those relationships so that people can live peacefully together, but it's absolutely necessary if we're going to have a sustainable peace in Mosul and in the rest of Iraq.
And we saw in our report there that a lot of families had been torn apart. There are a lot of children who simply do not know where their parents are, where their families are. How difficult is it going to be to reunite people and to bring families back together?
Well, it's definitely a challenge to reunite these children with their families, but it's something that humanitarian organizations here are working hard on. We as Oxfam make sure that when we are operating in a place, we give people information about how they can reconnect with their loved ones who may be in other parts of the country. And there are a lot of other humanitarian organizations who are working to do the same thing. So it's definitely a challenge, but one that people here are working very hard to overcome.
Michael, thank you very much indeed for speaking with us. Michael Boyce there from Oxfam speaking to us from Erbil.